Welcome back to the Justice Conference Asia 2014. We're here with David Gotz, who is the founder of International China Concern, also known as ICC. You shared with us a little bit about your heart in terms of abandoned children and things in China, which I know for you started back in 1993. Can you tell us just a little bit about what happened that really spurred this in your life?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go visit a welfare center in China in the early part of '93 and never really expected to my life to get turned upside down in the way that it was. I still remember, like it was yesterday, walking into that facility and just being completely devastated by what I saw. Walking through baby rooms and seeing babies that were just a few days, even a few weeks old, that were just malnourished and covered in skin diseases and dying.
Wow.
And walking from room to room and just seeing more and more children in that kind of condition. Kids with disabilities tied to chairs, left there 12 hours a day. And they literally were just starving to death. Kids that were locked in rooms, teenagers naked, and just left like animals. And it just broke my heart. And I came away from that experience and just prayed and said, God, you know, what do we do when we see something like this? And I felt that incredible challenge from God saying to me, well, you're here, what will you do? And that really was the turnaround of my life.
Wow. And of course, China, I think we hear a little bit in the news and things. We know, of course, about the one-child policy in China. And is that contributing to sort of abandoned children, and how does that work?
Historically, it used to have a big impact because a lot of the abandonment was healthy baby girls, and people abandoned a girl because they wanted a boy. And if you only have one chance, then you abandon the girl and you try again. But people that have a child with a disability, they're actually exempt from the one-child policy. Now, the abandonment is primarily kids with disabilities. So people aren't abandoning because of the one-child policy. They're abandoning because there aren't the kind of support services that they need in order to look after their child well. And a lot of stigma and prejudice, a lot of cultural challenges that come and economic challenges that come with having a child with a disability. So it was a factor, but not so much anymore.
Okay. And what do you see now? I mean, obviously things have changed, things have progressed, and of course we've seen China has blown up, economically. And has that changed the situation for you guys and in your work?
Yeah, it's changed hugely. What we find now is that the government is investing a lot more resources into social welfare for children, and that's a wonderful thing. But often the way those resources are directed doesn't necessarily have the kind of outcome that we would want to see. So for instance, we see a lot of new orphanages and buildings being built, large institutions, but the care that's being delivered inside those institutions is still really poor, which means mortality rates still run exceptionally high, and kids are not getting the care that they need. And so even though there's really great change taking place, there's a real need for voices to help direct and guide that change so that really the kids get to live that meaningful and abundant life that we would want them to have.
And of course, you're here at the Justice Conference this year sharing, and there's a lot of people here, and I think a lot of people are really inspired. What do you hope is really the takeaway? What are you hoping? I mean, how can everybody get involved? What's a way that anybody could really support and get involved in this type of cause?
Yeah, well, for me, I found the thing that resonated with my heart. So what I really want to encourage people to do is to listen and to find the thing that resonates with them and then give yourself to it, because it is a great adventure. When I started 21 years ago working with abandoned kids, I didn't know where it was going to take me. It was me with a passion and a desire to help. 20 years later, there's 350 of us working with hundreds of kids, transforming lives every single day. And that adventure, that journey can be anyone's adventure and journey when they find that thing that they're passionate about and they give themselves to it. So I would say grab hold of a cause and just give yourself and go.
Incredible. And I mean, obviously, I don't know what your background was before 1993, but it sounds like that this was just a real shock, that this wasn't something that you were prepared for. It was really more of like a gut reaction. And I mean, what was happening before? Was there anything that sort of led up to this, or was it just like it really just got dropped on you?
It really was, yeah. I mean, my career and direction was banking and finance, which now makes me laugh because that's so not me. But then, at that moment, stood in that orphanage, I realized that there was something greater, something that I'd been called to do and give my life to. And so, you make that shift and change, and the experience has just been transformative for me, not just for the kids that we minister to. And I love that. I love the life direction that I've been able to go.
Incredible. Well, thanks so much for being at the Justice Conference this year. So inspiring to hear what you're doing. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, David.